So this was Andrew Hall taking black and Eric taking white. Let's take a look at the game. It's I don't know if I would necessarily say this is a huge mistake. We generally don't like playing this kind of Q10 move anymore. The idea being that sides are worth more than corners are worth more than sides. So very rarely will you see this kind of Mount Fuji shape, not in a handicap type game. More often than not, you'll see a local approach either here, or obviously some sort of Tanuki elsewhere. Of course, is totally okay. This is just it's kind of it's not that it's a bad shape or anything like that, but it's not necessarily going to get a ton of territory here, and black can very easily just play a corner move elsewhere, and it's generally considered larger than playing this side.
Well, if I don't play that move and black plunges in there, is that going to give black a double attack?
It'll give black a double attack, but it's not hard for white to really handle these stones okay. Something like this happens. It's not going to be a terrible fight for white by any stretch. And again, you still get this move over here as well. So the idea being that it ends up being quite an okay result for white as well.
Okay.
This move by black seems a little questionable. It allows white to get up to d14, which seems like a very natural extension for white. So if I were black here, I would probably push, or
Yeah,
sorry,
I thought he was going
press, or at pincer. But this just seems to give white way too much here.
Yeah, I
So
thought
white
he was
gets up
going
on
to
the
press.
fourth line, and you can kind of change the order of the moves. Imagine if white had played here, is black going to play here now? Probably not. Black would
Well,
probably.
actually, as white, I was considering originally playing D15, the Kosumi, before he even came
Oh,
out
before,
there.
yeah. Instead of
And
here, yeah, that would have been totally okay. Yeah, that would have been, yeah, no worries. None of these moves are huge mistakes, but this one I would say is a definitive mistake. And this push here may be a little questionable because it allows white to get some strength over here and reduces a lot of the agi that black might have by playing a move at c12 later on.
yeah, I
Also,
can't say what Black was thinking, but I have to just guess that he was pushing, thinking he's going to get a bunch of stuff at the top, and that's why he was willing to do that.
it's tough because this is a huge space here, and it's really unreasonable to say you're going to get all of it. And so if I were to push like here, I wouldn't be content with just playing at K16, right? I would want to try to make it even larger. This would be my mindset. Because I think that if I were to just play at K16 after playing here, which maybe was black's plan, or I guess it wasn't, but why even make this E14 exchange, right? Because these two stones, the stone at E14 and the stone at K16, don't work very well together. Um,
So you're saying
so
play K16 right away rather than pushing.
yeah, I think K16 would have, or J16 or something like that would have made more sense than just pushing here.
Hmm.
Unless your plan is to really do this on kind of a large scale and play something like
I mean,
this.
if we back
But
that up a bit, you didn't like E15. What if Black had played the J16 right away, even before the E15?
well, I still think you'd be better off playing here.
Oh, right, right. Okay, okay.
So maybe some questionable moves for black. Um, and again, keeping the push, like there's no Aji left for this group. This just seems like very nice territory for white here. And
Yeah, according
it's
to the
going to be,
AI, White would have been. It was interesting because according to the AI, the D13 was better than jumping to D11, but then the D. Let's see, the D11. I think the AI thought that could have been a little bit better at D10.
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Get a little bit ahead in the fight. That makes sense. Either way, though, I don't think you're going to be too
Yeah, yeah, it
bent
didn't.
out of shape.
Yeah, I didn't hate this move. It just was
Yeah.
slightly.
And again, it's tough here, right? Because like, can black really expect to get all this? And I think the answer is no. And so if black can't expect to get all this, and black is probably going to get closer to maybe something like this, then these extra exchanges are still not very good, right? So definitely pushing here is questionable, and it also makes this white group over here much stronger. And again, no, so we're going back now. Now black has made all these extra moves to strengthen this area, this F to K area, and playing K16. So how does D12 or excuse me E12 work with K16? It doesn't work very well, right? So now white can take a large move over here, build up a huge side, and that's already worth more than all these stones at the top for black are. So I would definitely be giving an advantage
Yeah, as
to
white
white.
at this point, I was wondering, how important it is to throw in something like D17. Maybe I don't know. I didn't
No,
never
it's
at the
not that
time.
large. I D17 is a little bit of Aji because it's possible later on you want to play here, and by having made this exchange, it's going to hurt your fight over here, right?
I
Because it's
see.
going to be harder to live there. So
Mm.
it's not that it's a small move or anything like that, but I think because there might be larger moves up top, we don't necessarily want to play D17 yet.
Oh, okay.
So you played here anyway. It's again, it is a large move. It's a big corner territory. I don't want to fault you for playing it. I do think black should answer. If black wants sensei, black should probably answer like this, and then come over here. I think allowing white to play here is just going to completely destroy this black area, and expand the white corner to an almost unattainable amount of territory for black. And again, it makes these extra pushes that black made all that much worse. So I think if black really wants to get sente, black should first exchange these moves over here.
Yeah, my general feeling about this game as white was that I did well until I got in trouble at the lower left, and which you'll see.
So this move seems a little bit too aggressive, I think.
Yeah, I
Kind
wasn't
of
sure how to answer that.
the normal move would be something like this. Maybe black plays like this. Um, something like this might occur, right? This is what I might expect. Black would get the corner, but white would get a nice strong side over here. Um, this move here, I think it's because this S4 move is already here. I think it's unreasonable. I think that um, white is going to be too busy here,
Okay.
right? Like black has all these liberties on the outside. White only has a few liberties over here. I don't think this is going to end up being a particularly good result for white. So if black exchanges this, play here, extend, play here, and you don't necessarily want to Atari either because when you Atari, it hurts this
Wait, is
stuff.
this what happened or not?
No, no, this is what I think should happen. So when white plays here, black should push up.
Well, wait. If he does push up, you showed a bad result for white if white Hane's at P8, but maybe white won't, right?
Well, if white just jumps here, this is still a bad result, right? White gets completely separated and black is perfectly fine here. Weak floating group here, weak floating group here, and black only has these 4 stones to worry about, but it doesn't have to worry very much because it can connect up at at S6, excuse me.
Okay.
Right. So this is almost just as bad, if not worse, than the variation we just showed.
All right.
I think black's move here at R10 was too nice to white. Although I think that white has to block, right? But by playing here, what you're doing is you're saying, okay, you know what? Like I'll connect up these stones, but I'm going to take a big hit over here. And I think that this result ends up still being quite nice for black. So I think white's only move here is to play Lihane. Black will probably play here, and white will extend up. And so now the fight's much better for white than it could have been in either of these variations, I think.
Yeah, that
Um,
extending up is interesting. So, in other words, white's going to let black start to swallow those 2 stones at the bottom.
well, uh, a little bit. I think that it's not 100% sure that you'll be able to capture these stones. Maybe if you extend like something like this, it's not 100% sure that you'll capture these
No, but black
stones.
might have played 4 at P8 or something.
P8 here. Sorry, here.
Yeah.
But you definitely want to push here. This is a much better move than P8 because you're affecting the liberty count over here, right?
Okay.
And that affecting the liberties is much more important than just building shape. And white can always jump out here.
Yeah,
So
I'm always
I would
afraid of that move because of P6. I always worry about P6. If I'm afraid, yeah, I'm afraid of that. And now Q, no, 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 Q6 next.
Q6.
Wait,
Oh,
wait.
sorry, here.
Yeah, yeah, because now there's two cuts. I always worry about this kind of thing. That's
In this particular situation, you definitely have nothing to worry about because white can kill this group.
oh, okay. All right.
Oops, excuse me, went too far. Um, but I mean, we're kind of diverging from the game, so let's go back
Okay.
to it.
Yeah.
Um, so white played here. This is too nice to black. White really has to block at R11. Has to create some amount of pressure for this black group.
All right.
Because black settles quite nicely here. You know, this is almost already alive, and white has a weak floating group here and a weak stone over here.
Right.
Um, so this is okay. This is probably fine. I don't think it hurts to cut.
Now this was interesting. When I looked at the AI here, the AI did not want black to even protect at R15. It wanted black to go on his merry way and do
Well,
big stuff elsewhere on the board.
because I don't think the cut is vital right now. Because I think black can play here.
Oh, that's an interesting answer to the cut. Okay.
If white extends, you can either sacrifice these two stones, which is totally okay, or you can try to fight it out, and play something like this.
Well, white had P15 Atari.
When
Oh, instead of one of the moves you just played. P. Yeah.
it creates the same result.
I see.
It's like it's as if white played. It's if white played here now.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I can see this being a little too small. I definitely think that this D18 move is quite large as well. So I'd probably want to get that at some point. Maybe exchange here and then play something like this. This could be quite nice for black, kind of mapping out this area and trying to make good use of these stones over here and putting a little bit of pressure on these white stones over here. I do think after this results, that the game is definitely favoring black.
Okay.
Especially with maybe the slow move here, and then white plays here, which takes away all this area that black was trying to map out. So slow move by black, good follow-up move by white. But again, you know, black still is going to be able to attack this group at some point later on. So we have to be a little mindful of that. Probably fine to extend here. Or sorry, to cut here. All right, not cut, I guess Hane. You know, the worst that's going to happen is a clamp. White doesn't really have enough strength to. This is all of black's area, so white's not going to really be able to cut.
Well, when white stands up though at G16, that's Sente, right?
Yes, but look at this fight though. Look at how many stones black has here versus how many stones white has here.
So coming out diagonal at H15 is not reasonable after that?
Like this?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think that this is going to end up being favorable for black.
All
Because
right.
where's white going to run to, right?
Well,
You know,
he's still got J17 up his sleeve, right?
JCT doesn't matter.
I see.
You just can, you know, underneath. You can maybe give up one stone or so, but it doesn't really change much. The group is still locally dead.
Okay.
A little mindful time. So block here, okay. White plays here, it's a big move. This game still looks good for white, I think. Especially after white got both this exchange over here and these exchanges over here. Really, again, making these 4 stones, this extra push here that black did, look kind of silly. So I think white's doing fine. This is definitely too small. You know, if I were black here, I would just leave it. I don't even think I would answer. And if I do answer, I would definitely answer here.
Yeah, I think that's what the AI showed.
But I you know, let's say if I were black, I would probably want to focus on maybe a move, you know, something like this. Because what I don't want to have happen here is I don't want white to, you know, be able to play here, black plays something like this, and then white plays something like this, and kind of build up a framework on the lower side.
Right.
Um, so white attaches. This is okay. I'm not sure if this is the best move locally or not. You know, it does strengthen this group, but I think it's fine. I think the result ends up being pretty good for white. White builds up a nice framework over here, and black's influence over here is kind of nullified by white's strong wall. So I think this is probably a good result for white. Attach is fine. Yep. One thing that white can consider here is instead of attaching on top, maybe just coming down or playing the diagonal move here, with the idea being that you now don't have to exchange this move for like, you don't now have to come here and allow black to get a little bit more strength on these stones. Now it's a little different, where now if black wants to play anything, black's going to play here, but it doesn't have that same strength. Now you can play a clamp, or you can hane from underneath, or you can.
But if I do
seal it.
clamp, black's going to jump up to h4, and then white's going to be kind of an attack.
Again, I'm not saying right now, but you have options. Whereas if you play here, play here, play here, excuse me. Now black gets h4, right? Which puts a little bit of pressure on these white stones. So I would, for me, I would rather have, you know, some combination. If this was the result for black in the game, if everything else was the same, I don't think e4 is as helpful right now, right? Like I wouldn't exchange this move right here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if all else is equal, I wouldn't exchange e4 for
Right,
f3.
right. There's no use going after the single stone once white is strong.
I think maybe j3 is a little bit too nice to white, because now white can try to seal in the black group a little bit. I think that black should probably try to come out here. White's going to have a tough time living locally. Or maybe it does live locally, but I think it's more important for black to get out than for black to live locally.
Well, white probably wants to get out too, right?
White has strength here. White has strength here. It's not going to be hard for white to get out. You know, and again, you have this hane here, where, you know, black plays something like this. Like white's already easily alive. So for me, I would much rather have the stone either at h4 or maybe some combination of this. And then play like this.
Okay.
All right, so being mindful of the time, it looks like we're at the 20-minute mark. So was there any other questions on this game, Eric?
No, I mean, even though, I as you say, I did okay because black missed some opportunities, but then I got in trouble here in the lower left, but then managed to get out of it. So I don't know. I just felt kind of lucky in this game rather than
good. Lucky. It's always better to be lucky
rather than
than
I
good.
played good. I felt more lucky than playing good. Playing
Sure,
well.
sure.